following deadly protests. Dhaka says the situation is gradually calming down and all efforts are being made to protect vulnerable sections of the population. Protests against attacks on Hindus have also erupted in India, and the government too has criticized Dhaka for not doing enough to protect minorities.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. Mike Will, along with Tyson Havronic, ready to start your day, which is a Thursday, the 5th day of December for 2024. A lot to talk about here this morning, a lot around the Nebraska football room as the Huskers are losing another assistant coach. We'll tell you about that coming up. Nebraska is signing 20 players to its class of 2025, including a quarterback from California. We'll tell you about that here this morning. The Nebraska quarterback room is getting shuffled up after a transfer and maybe a position change for one of our existing quarterbacks. We'll tell you about that as well this morning. After winning a second straight Big Ten Conference Volleyball Championship, the Huskers put 5 players on the All-Big Ten first team yesterday. An upset win for the Creighton Blue Jays last night, and a historic night for the Hastings College women's basketball team. Plus, the high school basketball season gets underway tonight. We'll tell you about that and more coming up throughout the hour here as we get you up, get you going here. Mike Will with Tyson Havronic in the Western Studios. Good morning.
And a good morning to you as well, Mike, as we get going here on this Thursday morning. A Thursday morning where there's going to be a new number one in the men's college basketball side of things as well. Big night for the Birds last night, and we've already got some comments starting to shuffle in from the IT guy who says court storming needs to stop. Act like you've been there. We can get into that conversation coming up in a little bit, but a big night for the Blue Jays as they upend the number one team in the nation in the Kansas Jayhawks. And if I'm going to do math correctly, and use like my simple first grade logic, Nebraska beat Creighton. Creighton beat the number one team in the nation, so Nebraska should be number one, right?
Is that the way that works?
I don't believe it is, but yeah, big night for the J-Skers and for Creighton and for for the state taking down the number one team in the nation.
The number 2 ranked team also got beaten last night as Auburn fell to Duke 84-78. So the 2 top-ranked teams in men's college basketball were knocked off last night as Creighton wins and Duke wins. So there'll be a reshuffling when the AP poll comes out again next week. So lots to talk about today. Shall we start with the Creighton game?
Evidently, yeah.
The Jays never trailed in this ball game. Creighton wins again last night over Kansas 76-63. The Jays, they knocked off the 2 last number 1 ranked teams that Creighton has played. They have beaten. Mm-hmm. They beat UConn last year. Remember that? 85-66. That was the Huskies' last loss before winning 13 games in a row on their way to its second straight national championship. Well, this time around, they get Kansas as the number 1 ranked team, and the Jays knock off Kansas. Maybe the Jayhawks will do the same thing.
Turn it on around and go, win your next games, be the crown champion. Again, on the eye test, leading up to this game, the Creighton-Kansas game, really just watching one college basketball game in full because of the way our busy fall sports schedule ends as the college basketball season begins. I'll be honest, like the first full game I watched was Kansas and Duke. And for all intents and purposes, I thought that Kansas was probably deserving of that number one seed or number one number one ranking. I thought that they certainly had all of the looks on the eyeball test of being a team that is Final Four bound. But then, running into a Creighton team that has struggled out of the gates early on. I'm curious to see how this propels Creighton moving forward. I'm curious to see if they use this as a catalyst to get. There was some really high expectations, and deservedly so, with Creighton's roster that they had coming in. I think there was a lot of people that were anticipating some very, very big things from Creighton basketball this year. This is obviously number one, but you had the sting of losing to your in-state rival Nebraska, and I think people were starting to ask some questions about what's going on over there at Creighton. They fall out of the top 25. That's kind of unfamiliar territory for them as of late, but they turned things around last night and pick up the win. Do you use it as a catalyst? Does Kansas use this as a measuring stick and get back to work? Obviously, there's a lot of basketball that's going to be played from now until we tip things off St. Patrick's Day weekend for the NCAA basketball tournament. But yeah, big flex last night from the Creighton Jays for sure.
Well, we talked about it on this show yesterday, and we said it probably had to start maybe with an upset of Kansas last night.
Yep.
Maybe the Creighton restarting their season, so to speak. And it had to start last night with at least a good showing against Kansas. And it was not only a good showing, hell, they knocked them off. So a big win for Kansas. And we'll get to the comment here about storming the court.
Sure.
Yeah, does Creighton really need to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you knocked off the number one team in the nation. You were unranked. I get the act like you've been there factor. I understand that.
It's like storming the field in football. Do we really need to do that when you pick up a big win? Act like you've been there before.
These are kids, man. These are college kids. These are college kids having fun. It's not like you and I are going court storming. First of all, I don't know if I can get over the barriers at this point in my adult life, right? Like, we're not the ones storming the court. These are like the 18-year-old kids that are out there having a good time, out there partying with their friends, having fun. You beat the number one team in the nation. I'm all for it, man. And I understand the hazards, the risks that are involved with the trying to get the players and the coaches off the court first. I don't know. It's been around for ever. It seems like it's happening more and more, maybe because there's a little bit more parity now between some of the unranked teams and then the top teams in the nation. So we are seeing more of these top teams falling mid-season. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I'm going to be on probably the minority on this topic, I'm sure, as comments will continue to shuffle in here. And we might even put it up on a poll. You know, I'm curious to see what the public thinks on this. I'm on an island and frequently am. But I'm going to say let the kids be kids, let the kids have fun, storm the court when you beat a top-ranked team.
All right. If you'd like to weigh in, you can do so. Drop us a Facebook message on Facebook Live. Better yet, give us a call. Join in the conversation this morning. Huddle Up with Mike and Tyson. It's 402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330. Do you support storming the court or storming the field after a big win? What's the protocol? What would you like done? Yeah, is that good or is that bad?
And what's the argument against it? I mean, besides the obvious concerns of player safety, right? Besides the glaringly obvious, right? What are the main reasons why it ticks people off? I hear it all the time. Oh my God, you act like you've been there. I mean, like, right when we beat Colorado and we stormed the field, I thought that was like, I understand beating your rival and beating them decisively. I understand storming the field when you beat Wisconsin and you're bowl eligible for the first time in your program's history. And even though we got a lot of flack for it on social media because they said, wow, a team that has won their sixth game has stormed the field, a program that is as tradition-rich as Nebraska storms the field when they get their sixth win against a very helpless Wisconsin team. I get the arguments against it, but at the same time, they're kids. And I think we got to remember that. They're kids that are out there to enjoy the college experience, and they're having fun. And you just beat the number one team in the nation when a lot of people gave you probably a 0% chance to do so. So let the kids have fun and go storm your court.
Yeah, the first 6 times that Creighton played a number one ranked team, they were blown out. They were absolutely blown out the first 6 times that Creighton played a number 1 ranked team, and now the last 2, they've upset UConn and they've upset Kansas. So kudos to the Creighton men's basketball team. If you're listening to us online today, that's great. We appreciate each and every one of you, no matter where you are today, on our website at x-streamsports.com, on your smartphone with our free mobile app, on your smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. We're there everywhere you are. And again, we appreciate you waking up with us here. It's like we're joining you at the breakfast table, because we've got all the news, weather, and sports you're going to need to get through the day today. I was involved with a historic night last night. The Hastings College women's basketball team. They played a team that is not very good.
Sure.
And they haven't been very good for the last couple of years. And we were all expecting Hastings to win the game over the College of St. Mary's last night. What we were not expecting was the Bronco women's basketball team put up 116 points in the ball game last night against the Flames and won 116-52. The 116 points sets a school record for the most points scored in a game. Hastings went on a 23-0 run during the first half and outscored the Flames in the second quarter 40-9. A women's basketball team put up 40 points in a quarter and outscored their opposition 40-9 in the second period. Hastings hit 53% of their shots in the ball game, including 13 three-pointers. 6 players reached double figures, led by Macy Bryant, the UNK transfer. She scores 15 points in the game. So the Broncos are sitting at 6-1 on the season, 3-1 in the conference, and now their season starts, so to speak. They've got a rough road coming up. They've got Dakota Wesleyan coming up on Saturday. That'll be at home. That'll be a tough game. Then the Broncos next week will face Concordia in Seward. Then they'll face the number 1 ranked team in Dordt in Sioux Center. Then they head to Hawaii and play a couple of games against nationally ranked opponents. In fact, their first opponent is ranked number 2 in the preseason poll. So Hastings is through their honeymoon part of their schedule, so to speak, and now their season really starts with Dakota Wesleyan, Concordia, Dordt, and a couple of teams that are ranked in the top 10, I think, nationally when they play over in Hawaii in a couple of weeks. So some big games last night with Creighton and certainly the Hastings College women's basketball team. They lit them up last night. That was kind of fun to watch. Like we said, the College of St. Mary's, not a great team in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. They turned the ball over a bunch of times, and the Broncos took advantage of that. They had a lot of easy field goals, but they rack up 116 points. I don't care who you are, men, women, junior high, elementary kids. That's a lot of points, 116 points.
I have 2 questions, actually 3 questions. One, did you have room on your stat sheet for 116 points? Did you have to use the back page? Fill in the margins, get a little sloppy.
Yeah, it doesn't look good this morning as I look at it again.
116 points. But the other thing is, how often do we see in these kind of games? And it's no knock on College of St. Mary's, but when you play these kind of competition, this caliber of competition, sometimes you kind of go in with the mindset and you're just doing a walkthrough, and maybe you're not mentally on the floor. Your feet quite aren't where they are, and you play sluggish, and it's not very pretty basketball. Here's 116 points, as they obviously clearly came out with an offensive game plan, executed it, and continued to do so as the night went along, kept the foot on the gas. So to be able to get up and get ready and get prepared and just play your brand of basketball, that says a lot about this women's program.
Well, the thing with Hastings College, it's not like we could have put in any other. Everybody that suited up played last night. Mm-hmm. Our number 6 through number 12 players, they're good. Yeah. So it's not like we could have put in like in football when you put in the second, third, and fourth teamers. Mm-hmm. We don't have a second string or a third string that Hastings could have put in there last night, because those players are players that are contributing on a nightly basis that might be playing between 12 and 20 minutes a game anyway. So they were playing anyway. In fact, a lot of the leading scorers last night were not the starting 5.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff and good depth there on the HC bench. My third question in all of this HC record breaking chatter is obviously, given the implications and the weight that is going to be put on this upcoming series in Hawaii. Is it in the extreme sports budget? Are we flying? I feel like we should be there.
I wish I was there.
Provide coverage.
Put my toes in the sand
from Hawaii
in December.
I feel like that's needed. I feel like we need to be called into action, and we need to find some budget and some wiggle room in the bookkeepers' books there to make a little jaunt out to Hawaii.
If that happens again, I'll guarantee I'll be on the flight. Yeah, if Hastings goes to Hawaii again, we'll have the games.
Excellent. That'd be fun.
It's right during Christmas break.
Wear the Hawaiian shirts, the lays out for the broadcast.
I've got a bunch of those shirts. I'd fit right in. I'd look like a dork. I'd look like a dork.
Well, so does everybody else that does it on ESPN for the Maui Classic. So you'll fit right in. You'll fit right in.
So yeah, the men are going to Florida this year for their little Christmas break, and the women are going to Hawaii. So both teams will be putting their toes in the sand.
Oh, that sounds really great about right now, especially after I woke up this morning and had to run out to check the weather really quick, and it was like, cold.
16 degrees as you wake up and get going this morning.
Feels like it too.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on Huddle Up. We've got a lot more to talk about. And again, we'd love to have you join us in on the conversation, 402-834-1330. I know we've got some new people in the lounge watching us this morning on the Facebook Live. So if you'd like to join us, 402-834-1330. Drop us a message on Facebook, and we'll get through the hour as we get you out the door this morning. It is 7:16. As we got our first check on news.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you in part by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where since 1946, Hastings Federal Credit Union has been a part of the Hastings community, and it's community that is at the heart of everything they do. As a nonprofit financial cooperative, the credit union is owned by the members who join, and joining the credit union is as simple as opening a primary savings account. Get from point A to point B and everywhere in between with a low-rate vehicle loan. Whether you're committed to camping or love living the lake life, you can also count on Hastings Federal Credit Union to finance your next big toy. They even do personal loans for life's little curveballs. With affordable loan rates, convenient repayment options, and a friendly local staff that knows you by name, see for yourself what the credit union difference is all about. And that's Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online at hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. We'll start off this morning on the campus of Hastings College, where the Hastings College Department of Music and Theater is inviting the community to a festival of 9 lessons and carols at 3 p.m. on Sunday at the First Presbyterian Church. Service is free and open to the public. The program begins with a prelude by the Hastings College Band, while the service itself will feature the Hastings College Choir, Choral Union, and South Central Nebraska Children's Chorale. Members of the Hastings College community will serve as readers for the festival. The service has been a part of the Hastings College holiday tradition since the 1980s, when then-President Thomas Reeves introduced it to the Hastings community. The prelude and service will be live-streamed on the college's YouTube channel. The Nebraska Department of Transportation will be holding a public hearing regarding a preliminary design and draft for the construction of a viaduct in Central City. The meeting takes place on Wednesday, December 18th from 5:30 until 7:30 at Central City Public Schools. The Nebraska Department of Transportation will give a formal presentation at 6 p.m. with an open house to follow at 7:30. The proposed project would construct a viaduct in Central City located in Merrick County. And earlier this week, the State Canvassing Board met to certify the results of November's general election. The November general election was the first with a voter ID requirement in the state of Nebraska, and Secretary of State Bob Evnen said it was a success. Approximately 345 ballots were rejected due to voters not providing ID. The Secretary of State's office conducted a post-election audit to certify the accuracy of ballot counting machines, and 69,764 ballots were hand-counted, with only 7 showing discrepancies with the machine count. The board will reconvene on December 10th to certify the races where an automatic recount was needed due to the close voter margins. With the certification of the ballots and a last-minute court challenge thrown out, Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana will see their effort turned into law. Krista Egger, spokesperson for the initiative, said on social media this week, quote, "Thank you, Nebraska, for your overwhelming support of compassionate medical cannabis access for the patients in our state," end quote. It is coming up on 7:20. We'll take things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going down in sports?
Well, the Nebraska football team is losing another assistant coach. Defensive line coach Terrence Knighton is joining Tony White at Florida State. Knighton has coached in Nebraska since 2023 after following head coach Matt Rule from the Carolina Panthers. The Nebraska football team assigned 20 players to its class of 2025, including a quarterback from California. T.J. Lateef is the number 25 quarterback in the class and the number 28 recruit from the state of California. This season, Lateef completed 71% of his passes for 2,080 yards and 22 touchdowns, while adding another 5 scores on the ground. He chose Nebraska over other offers from Arizona, UCLA, Colorado, and others. And the Nebraska quarterback room is getting reshuffled. On Tuesday, freshman backup Danny Kalin announced his intentions to transfer, leaving the Huskers with just 3 scholarship quarterbacks, Dylan Raiola, Heinrich Harburg, and incoming freshman T.J. Lateef. Well, during yesterday's signing day press conference, head coach Matt Rule said Harburg will be changing positions heading into the 2025 season. After winning a second straight Big Ten championship, 5 members of the Nebraska volleyball team were named to the All-Big Ten first team yesterday. Senior Lexi Rodriguez was named the Big Ten Libero of the Year, and sophomore Bergen Riley was named the Center of the Year. In addition to the individual awards, Merritt Beeson, Andy Jackson, and Harper Murray joined Rodriguez and Riley on the 25-player All-Big Ten first team. The Creighton men's basketball team upset top-ranked Kansas 76-63 last night at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Jays never trailed in the game and led by as many as 17 points. Ryan Kalkbrenner scored 17 points for Creighton. The victory comes just 10 months after Creighton knocked off number 1 ranked Connecticut 85-66. That was the Huskies' last loss before winning 13 games in a row on their way to its second straight national championship. Hastings College women's basketball team set a record for the most points scored in a game last night when they pounded the College of St. Mary's 116-52 at Lynn Farrell Arena. The Broncos went on a 23-0 run in the first half and outscored the Flames in the second quarter 40-9. The Broncos hit 53% of their shots in the game, including 13 three-pointers. Macy Bryant led the way with 15 points. Ann Bowes had 14. Gentry Marks 13. Alyssa Baker 12. Whitney Bauer 11. And Tanis Ariando had 10. Hastings is now 6-1 in the season, 3-1 in the conference. They'll play host to Dakota Wesleyan on Saturday. And the high school basketball season gets underway tonight. Hastings High boys and girls will play host to Seward beginning at 5:30. We'll have the action here on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame at about 5:15 this afternoon. In other action, the Adams Central boys and girls will play host to Aurora, and St. Cecilia will play at Columbus SCOTUS. That's a check in your sports headlines this morning. 7:23 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
A pretty quiet forecast as we head through the rest of the work and school week and into the weekend. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Community TV. Cooler today on this Thursday, plenty of sunshine, a high around 30 degrees. North wind 5 to 10, becoming light and variable throughout the day. Overnight tonight, a low of 18, a few passing clouds. As we head into the weekend, Friday sunny, a high of 48. Saturday, a high of 58 and 55 on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine and quiet into next week.
Right now, as you get going this morning, we've got clear skies. Winds are blowing out of the north at 8 miles per hour. 16 degrees at Extreme Sports.
This holiday season, take control of your health and give the gift of wellness at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. From November 10th through December 31st, we're here to help you unwind, rejuvenate, and feel your best. Treat yourself or a loved one to our soothing massages, relaxing head spa scalp treatments, and luxurious Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing benefits of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Looking for an extra special gift? Our gift certificates are the perfect way to share the gift of wellness. Plus, become a member and enjoy 24-hour access to our exclusive therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members also save 20% on all services and 10% on products from our non-toxic retail shop. Give the gift of health, peace, and joy this holiday season only at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center.
Imagine a world where your office IT runs smoothly, securely, and effortlessly. A day where you aren't worried about the next outage or password compromise. At Hamilton, we take care of everything from monitoring and maintenance to security and support. We partner with your business to design integrated technology solutions that fit your needs now and your goals for the future. With on-site and remote IT support options, we're always just a call or click away. Elevate your IT with Hamilton Managed IT. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success, and now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
Again, welcome back to Huddle Up. This is Extreme Sports. Mike Will, Tyson Havronik, with you on a Thursday morning, the 5th day of December, as we get you up and get you out the door today. So no matter where you're listening to us or watching us, Extreme Sports, x-streamsports.com on your smartphone, your smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. Thanks for joining us. Again, if you're watching us and you'd like to chime in, you can leave us a message on Facebook Live, or better yet, give us a call. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. Love to have you join us on our conversation this morning. Notice a lot of new folks joining us on the Facebook Live here today. And to you, a big welcome, and welcome to Huddle Up.
Welcome to the show. We actually got a comment coming in from Twitch. That's where our good buddy Eric Williams likes to watch the show. And Eric has chimed in on the court storming debate that we've been having this morning in regards to Creighton's big win over top-ranked Kansas last night. Massive, massive victory for the Blue Jays. He says he's all for court storming in these types of games. It's about the only thing that separates college athletics from professional sports that we have left. So he's all for letting the kids have fun. You get a big win. I don't care if it's against a rival or it's against top 25 competition, against the number 1 team in the land. I think certainly justifies a storming of the court like we saw last night. And so he's with me. Let the kids be kids. Let the kids have fun. And let's keep college athletics what's somewhat fun anymore with the way they've kind of shifted towards the professional side of things. So he's with me.
He's hanging with you, huh?
Yeah, dangerous place to be.
Yeah,
hanging on my opinions. It's
Yeah.
not always the most popular, and it's not always the most loved. But I speak my piece. Let
All
the
right.
kids be kids.
What do you think? Give us a call, chime in, or leave us a message on wherever you're watching us this morning. Many different avenues. Let's get back to Matt Rule.
Yes.
And the recruiting class yesterday brought in 20, all 20 commitments that he had for this year signed with the Huskers. That is good news, despite everything that is going on with the coaching staff and everything else. They brought in a quarterback, could be the quarterback of the future for the Huskers, in T.J. Lateef, as his name. Number 25 quarterback in the class, number 28 recruit from the state of California. And now yesterday the coach says we're going to shuffle up the quarterback room a little bit with Danny Kalin leaving. And now we're down to 3 quarterbacks. Well, now Heinrich Harburg might be changing positions for the 2025 season. So they could be looking to the transfer portal to bring in the 3rd quarterback. So that's just some interesting news that came out immediately in the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, and with Harburg, right? I'm excited for this because this is what I've been saying all season long. Harburg needs to see the field, I think, a minimum 75% of the snaps. And it's not necessarily seeing the field at the same position. I love the fact that I think Heinrich Harburg, if I'm scouting him and doing an eyeball test, he's the next Taysom Hill. Where Taysom Hill for the New Orleans Saints can be anywhere on the field at any given point in time, whether it's quarterback, running back, fullback, would love to see that come again, wide receiver, tight end. If he's on the field, the defense has to account for him. And that's one more player that could be freed up with our offensive scheme. And so I love the idea of turning Heinrich Harburg into sort of a Swiss Army knife. I don't think he's got a set position at the end of the day. I think when they say we're reshuffling and going to maybe move him to positions, I'd likely be tight end, I think. But at the same point, I see him on the field in several different positions to be able to contribute to this offense. I love the change, and I was excited to hear that news that they want to transition him and get him into more involved, getting some more reps in other aspects and areas of the field.
I saw a comment yesterday that Heinrich should learn how to be the long snapper, too.
Might as well.
Well, remember, we're down to a 105-player roster limit for next year. That's one way to guarantee a spot on the team. You're going to play all those positions. You might as well be the long snapper, too.
Might as well be the long snapper. He could do it. He's a football kid that can play anywhere on the field.
All right, so that's some interesting stuff coming out of there. Matt talked about a lot of other things, and we'll get to it now. It's 7:32 here on Huddle Up. It's the first time we've really had a chance to meet up with a coach since everything that transpired at Iowa with the no handshakes and the problems they had at midfield for their prayer and everything. Well, the coach addressed that right off the bat yesterday.
Obviously, our players didn't shake hands before the game. Captains. I didn't know that even after the game. I found out about it, afterwards. And that's not what we want to do. That's not the way to handle it. I do want to say, we showed up at the game, and really for 12 years now, we show up to an away game. We always kind of go to the 50-yard line. Some guys, will say a prayer for safety. Some guys will just break it down. We've never really had any problems. We had a problem last year at Colorado for a few minutes. We had a problem this year at USC, but for the most part, we kind of go and do it. Iowa didn't want us to do it before the game. They told us we had to go to the end zone. When we came out to walk to the end zone, there were 7 armed state troopers standing on the logo. And I think our players felt some type of way about police in pregame. And, they felt that. It wasn't maybe channeled the right way. But I do, we've got great guys. We've got great leadership. Not the right decision, not what we wanted. But I think when you watch that game, credit to both teams, between the lines, no unsportsmanlike fouls, no trash talking, no taunting, and watching college football, even after the game, I think both teams handled themselves in a way that a lot of games didn't. So we'll grow from that, we'll learn from that. But I know a lot of people have asked me about it. I do want to make sure everyone understands kind of the whys, why our guys maybe felt that way. But again, we'll be better, and we'll make sure our guys understand that we'll always we'll always shake everyone's hand before we play them and after, regardless of the score.
And the coach wanted to say, despite the 6-6 season, he's proud of his football team.
This has been hard. This has been a hard 2 years, and they've battled and they fought. And I want them to be proud of the fact that, I don't know the last time, we beat a team that finished the season ranked, but we did that this year at Colorado, and that was a big moment for us. That's the trophy for beating Wisconsin's upstairs, and it doesn't say Nebraska on it till this year for 12 years. I mean, that's staggering when you walk by it. And we're not going to apologize for being the first team to beat Wisconsin. We're not going to apologize for getting to a bowl. And so you might have heard me say it earlier, but, on a journey like this, there's no other program in the Power 5 that had a longer streak of not going to a bowl game. And so it's hard to do what they did. It's hard to do what Giff and Ty and Nash and all those guys did. And so I don't want them to forget that. I don't want them to, we don't want to be 6-6. We want to have a better record. We want to win those close games, all those things. But I don't want them to forget what they did, because what they did was hard. And sometimes we have a tendency to overlook that. So being in bowl practice right now is exactly what this team needs, exactly what we need moving forward. I saw guys yesterday. I saw guys practice and look like I haven't seen them look all year. And that was really good.
And the transfer portal is on everybody's minds right now.
I try to prepare everybody. I tried, even with the signing class we have today, even with the kids in the portal, we're still over 85 scholarships. Like, there's going to be more. And everybody's journey is different. Jamari came in to see me first thing Monday morning. We hugged. I never expected Jamari to be back next year. And then he came to me and said he wanted to come back and play. I thought he was going to go to the NFL. He's going to do what he has to do. Everyone's got a little different story. Some guys, this is just a different age. Everyone comes in now. Am I going to start? Am I going to play? And I think you guys know me well enough to know I'm not going to tell everybody what they want to hear. I'm going to tell them the truth. And some guys will stay. Some guys will go. A lot of people want to come here right now. We're getting a lot of calls. It'll all be fine. It'll all be great. And as I look at where we're at right now, everything that's happening is by design. My history's always been to be 6-6 in the second year, get to a bowl game, and the third year make a jump, and we'll make that jump. And I'm adapting to the new landscape. When I first got here, you could only transfer once. Now you can transfer twice in a year. We'll adapt. We'll have good players, and we'll play good football.
And the coach also talked about his coaching staff. Of course, Dana Holgerson has signed on for 2 more years to stay as the offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator, Tony White, he has left, and he's going to be the defensive coordinator down at Florida State. The coach says that John Butler will move up to take the defensive coordinator's position in the upcoming bowl game. Remember, Butler, he was brought on to coach the secondaries. He was a guy who was on the Buffalo Bills staff, and he came to Nebraska in July. But John Butler will be the defensive coordinator for the Huskers in the upcoming bowl game.
And John's definitely a candidate for the job right now. I brought John in knowing that at some point Tony was going to leave, whether it was a coordinator job or head coaching job. John's been a DC before. So, right away I just said, hey, John, I need you to take this over and run with it. So, he's done a great job in the season of putting together game plans, and passing game plans and stuff with Tony. And, he'll take that. And so I'll talk to some different people. I have talked to some people. I've had a lot of players come into me and voice their opinions. A lot of guys love John on the staff, on the team. But, that's one of the reasons why we hired John was in case this happens. So we'll see how it goes.
And Matt says there's no timeline set in stone as to whether or not he'll name a permanent defensive coordinator.
Despite all the angst, because I get the angst, right? Like I get I don't ever want to make a bad decision. I think sometimes when we rush, we make bad decisions. And so, even yesterday, I was able to go out to practice and, we put the ball down and we're competing, and John's calling the defenses, and I can kind of get a rhythm for how he does it and all that. So I feel really comfortable with him. I feel really comfortable with some other coaches. I can't tell you the amount of people who are interested in the job. I mean, I'm talking about sitting current Power 5 coordinators. I think what's important to me is I like the way we play defense. I like this defense. I like these fronts. I like the multiplicity of what we did. We did some different things against Iowa that I thought were great. And so I don't want to switch to something different. I want to do this defense. And so whoever that is, I don't want to make that decision for a short term, like, we all feel good about it. I don't want to make a splashy hire. I mean, if we'll all remember when I hired Tony in the 3-3-5, I mean, like, my phone didn't stop blowing up. Like, how's the 3-3-5 ever going to work? And people were panicked, and I think it's worked out pretty good, So I have no timetable other than just to get it right, just to make it right.
Back to the transfer portal, despite being still 80 over the limit, the coach says we're still going to be aggressive recruiting high school kids. We're still going to be aggressive in the transfer portal.
We're going to be aggressive in high school recruiting, and we're going to be aggressive in the portal, because that's just the new way of doing things, right? Like when I was in the NFL, we tried to be aggressive in free agency. I just never wanted to, I didn't want to flip the roster by just coming in and telling kids to leave, right? But I don't have to do that now. We're still, like I said, we had to go from 150. If you think about it, we want to be at 105 next year. You had to go from 150. Let's say you have 20, 30 seniors. That's 120. You got to get down basically to 70 to be able to add 20 new signees and then 15 portal guys. Let's say 7 on each side. 10 new portal guys. So I tried to warn everyone there would be a lot of attrition, a lot of scary attrition, but it's all part of what has to happen right now. I think, as we move forward, it'll be a little bit more normalized, but I mean, we have schools with 10 guys that are already in the portal, or say they're going to the portal, or reaching out somehow, some way. And the portal is open until Monday, so we're trying to do everything the right way. But I'm just telling you, this is like nothing we've ever seen before. I mean, it's just completely different this year than it was. And we have revenue sharing now. We have a healthy bottom line, and we have the money to go do it. We have 1890 support, but we also have revenue sharing as well. So 1890's been amazing, and what they've allowed us to do is elite, right? I mean, basically we had 85 scholarship players plus probably another 20 guys that paid for school with NIL. We had 105 scholarship players, so you're going to have some attrition to get back down to where we're going to be at. So, but yeah, I think we're going to be aggressive in terms of the exact positions and all that. I don't know. I want to say necessarily that. I don't think there's any position we wouldn't look at. I mean, I think we're going to bring in competition and let guys compete. Let the best players play, and rotate a lot of guys on defense, play a lot of guys on defense, and kind of go from there.
That's Husker head coach Matt Rule in his signing day press conference yesterday in Lincoln. A lot on the table right there. Talked about Iowa. Talked about the transfer portal. John Butler going to be the DC for the bowl game coming up. I really anticipate him being the full-time permanent replacement, but we'll see.
Samesies. And it's kind of everything we've glossed over and we've touched upon ourselves without hearing directly from the coach, right? You go back to crew chief Endorf in his comment earlier this week talking about the defensive coordinator scenario, and we were kind of saying that was one that had our heads scratching because of Tony White making a lateral move. But Mike was dead on, and he was like, we brought in this secondary coach from the Buffalo Bills to, in all likelihood, be the heir apparent defensive coordinator, because we knew in the bottom of our hearts that Tony White was not going to stick around forever, that there was going to be some different and maybe some bigger opportunities for him, both financially and professionally moving forward. So you bring in this guy knowing that he's going to eventually get the keys one day, and that is starting to pan out. We talked a lot about the transfer portal and the fact that, yes, this year will be very chaotic because of the new roster limitations that have been set aside from the NCAA. But after this year, it will kind of look more normal moving forward, but you got to make these cuts first. And so, yeah, we're going to see a lot in a very little amount of time. And I still love the fact that they're doing things the right way, that, we're not waiting until the transfer portal opens and waiting until cut day and telling these kids, okay, well, now you're cut. We're going out and addressing that at a very early stage so that these kids can get that opportunity to find the best possible landing spot for them and their collegiate futures. So you address that. And then, obviously with the handshake line, right? And I think we've touched upon that. And I think, if I'm sending any message to Coach Rule, I know that this has been a long-standing Nebraska tradition. But let's find a new tradition. Let's pray in the end zone. Let's pray in the locker room. Let's pray outside of the tunnel when we come out of these opposing fields. Because yes, the midfield, the 50-yard line, that logo is a sacred place in college football, and I think we have to respect that and respect other universities' wishes, and we can't feel hurt about that, especially since there's 120 yards of field to prey on. So looking forward to seeing how they address that moving forward, but I'm glad that they at least, brought it up. Glad to hear that it was not a directive from Coach Rule, because I think there was a lot of rumors that he gave those captains the initiative to stand on the field with their hands in their pockets, and so I was glad that he picked up and let people know that call didn't come from up top. And so, moving. I mean, I think again we've touched upon all of these topics, and he just reiterated, I think, what we've kind of known for a long time here at Nebraska, and that's that, this transfer portal is going to be chaotic. The defensive coordinator position is going to be okay. And then to hear his comments, like, that raised some hair on my arms when he was talking about his process and that we're going to make that jump. And when he said it confidently. He said, we are going to make that jump. Everything will be fine. We are going to make that jump. And it's hard not to stand behind a guy like that, that's willing to make those comments, put his neck on the line, and say, we're going to make a jump next season. Stay calm. Everything will be fine, Husker Nation.
Yeah, and I think the next few days, Husker Nation needs to not push the panic button, because you're going to hear a bunch of names that are going to be leaving the program, and it's only to get down to the 105 player limit. What do you say? We're going to be at 180, so we might have 80 players. Yep. That's like half of the team could leave and announce their intentions here in the next few days. So don't hit the panic button, Husker Nation. Yep. Like the coach says, everything is going to be just fine.
We're going to bring in 20 recruits. We're going to probably try to get 20 kids in on the transfer portal, and then that'll get us towards that 105. But you're going to hear big names in the transfer portal, and people are going to be like, obviously turmoil in the Husker program, chaos in the locker room, all these kids hitting the No. They're going to get their best opportunity, and as it pans out, if you play the long game and you stay patient, and then you see some of the athletes that are probably on the phone right now with Coach Rule, asking about the depth chart issues and where they could potentially land. Will they have a future? Some big name. I would anticipate some wide receivers coming in on this transfer portal class. Just stay patient, stay the course. I think the right guy is at the wheel right now in terms of guiding us through this very chaotic period of college football.
We gave him the keys to the Cadillac.
He's driving it well right now.
You're waking up with Mike and Tyson. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Another university that's having some problems with their coordinators is Oklahoma State. They have fired their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator after the Cowboys' 3-9 season. The offensive coordinator is Casey Dunn. He is done. And Brian Nardo, the defensive coordinator, has been giving his walking papers. The Cowboys, who won 10 games last season and reached the Big 12 championship game, were expected to be the conference and the college football playoff contenders in 2024. They were even ranked number 17 in the preseason poll. That didn't happen. They went 3-9 this year, went 0-9 in Big 12 play, and snapped the program's 18-year bowl game streak under longtime head coach Mike Gundy. Dunn had been a member of Gundy's coaching staff since 2011 and was elevated to the offensive coordinator's position in 2020. Nardo served as the defensive coordinator for 2 seasons after Gundy hired him away from Gannon University, a Division II program. So Oklahoma State is in the market for both an offensive and defensive coordinator now.
I got to be real honest with you. And I know that a lot of people love Gundy around here, and they love Gundy for one reason, because he's a man and he's 40 and he stood up for that kid 15, 20 years ago, right? Made that just great all-time moment from a coaching press conference standpoint. I am surprised as hell that Mike Gundy survived the hot seat at Oklahoma State. And I know that the first step is changing the coordinators, and that's kind of the first step towards you better bring in somebody now, or it'll be you that is waving goodbye to the university. I know he's a long-time head coach there, but they had no reason to be as bad of a football team as they were this year. They had a top 5 Heisman Trophy candidate in Ollie Gordon, and he was totally underutilized and underdeveloped and underperformed, and it was a mess. Watching that Colorado game for as long as I could stomach it the other day was a disaster. And Oklahoma State, I thought for sure come Monday that Gundy was going to be with the rest of the coordinators, and they were going to be cleaning house over there at Boone T. Pickens Stadium. But as it stands, just some coordinators, as I got to assume that this is the last ride for Gundy. He has to either turn the program around next year, or Oklahoma State might have a new head coach.
Well, the same thing is going on at Florida State.
Exact same thing.
Yep,
exact
Mark
same
Norvell is the head coach there, and they had a miserable year this year. So what are they doing? They fired their coordinators. They brought in an offensive coordinator and Gus Malzahn, who's going to be on staff, and then Tony White as the defensive coordinator. So they're making some changes, and it might be the last ride for Mark Norvell down at Florida State. So,
and we got to stop saying Mike Gundy's 40. It's because E, literally chiming in on Twitch, goes, if his math is correct, Mike Gundy should now be 57 years old.
So he's not 40.
17 years ago was the famous press conference moment where I'm a man, I'm 40.
Now he's 57.
Now he's 57.
Time flies when we're having fun.
He's a man. He's damn near 60.
All right, you're listening to Mike and Tyson Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. Talking about coaches, I was stumbling through a bunch of stuff yesterday. Guess who was brought up as a possible candidate for the Central Florida job?
I heard through the grapevine that Central Florida could be looking at bringing back somebody that previously coached at Central Florida.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Scott Frost.
It's about to get real cold in Central Florida because his last name is Frost.
I don't know. That would be an interesting move. I can see it happening.
We saw it, right, for those years at Nebraska. And I'm wondering, was it the product of just the perfect alignment of a roster? That he had just enough playmakers to get through a really, really bad conference.
Sure.
Took down an Auburn team that, quite frankly, didn't want to be in a bowl game, that was upset that they weren't playing for a national championship or a college football playoff spot. And that maybe was a little bit bitter and a little bit underwhelmed that they were playing Central Florida and they were able to nab them by surprise. Was it the product of just being in the perfect system to be able to get the paycheck from Nebraska because everybody thought we need to hire this guy now? Would year 2 of it Central Florida been anything to write home about? We might be soon find out. If he can do it again at Central Florida.
You know what? I hope they give him a chance. I hope somebody gives Scott Frost a chance. I'm not a big Scott Frost fan. Sure. I wasn't a Scott Frost fan before he was the head coach, and certainly not when he was the head coach. But I think he's got a football mind. I think he's got a terrific football mind. I think somebody should give him a chance. And why not at Central Florida? I think he still has his house down there. He could just move back into his house.
Just move right back into his old house?
Yeah, I don't think he ever sold his house down there. Not that I'm familiar with, so he could just, he moved right in.
Go right back on in. like he never left.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Interesting stuff going on in the coaching ranks. Anyway, better move along here. 7:53 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you by Hastings Federal Credit Union, lighting the way to financial success since 1946. They're proud to be your trusted, long-term financial partner. As a nonprofit financial cooperative, the Hastings Federal Credit Union is owned by the members who join, and joining the credit union is as simple as opening a primary savings account. You can access your accounts wherever you go with mobile banking, bringing you financial peace of mind right from the palm of your hand, where you can securely and conveniently manage your accounts and loans at any time from anywhere. Transfer funds, deposit checks, pay bills with bill pay, and quickly access your account balances to help you cover whatever little curveballs life throws your way with mobile banking today. It's one of the many ways you can experience the credit union difference. That's Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online at hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. We'll start off with the news from the Nebraska State Capitol, where earlier this week the State Canvassing Board met to certify the results of November's general election. The November general election was the first with a voter ID requirement in Nebraska, and Secretary of State Bob Evnen said it was a success. Approximately 345 ballots were rejected due to voters not providing ID. The Secretary of State's office conducted a post-election audit to certify the accuracy of the ballot counting machines, and of the 69,764 ballots that were hand-counted, only 7 had discrepancies with the machine count. The board will reconvene coming up on December 10th to certify those races which were too close to call or an automatic recount was needed. With the certification of the ballots and a last-minute court challenge thrown out, Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana will see their efforts turned into law. Krista Eggers, spokesperson of the initiative, said on social media, quote, "Thank you, Nebraska, for your overwhelming support and of compassionate medical cannabis access for the patients in our state," end quote. Let's head over to Central City, where the Nebraska Department of Transportation will soon be holding a public hearing regarding the preliminary design and draft for the construction of a viaduct. The meeting will take place on a Wednesday from 5:30 until 7:30 at Central City Public Schools. NDOT will give a formal presentation at 6 p.m. with an open house to follow until 7:30. The proposed project would construct a viaduct in Central City located in Merrick County. And finally, the Hastings College Department of Music and Theater is inviting the community to a festival of 9 lessons and carols. This coming up at 3 p.m. on Sunday at the First Presbyterian Church. Service is free and open to the public. The program begins with a prelude by the Hastings College Band, while the service itself will feature the Hastings College Choir, Choral Unit, and South Central Nebraska Children's Chorale. Members of the Hastings College community will serve as the readers for the festival. The service has been a part of the Hastings College holiday traditions since the 1980s, when then-President Thomas Reeves introduced it to the Hastings community. The prelude and service will be live-streamed on the college's YouTube channel. 7:56, we'll swing it back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going on in sports?
Hastings College women's basketball team set a record for the most points scored in a game last night when they pounded St. Mary's 116-52 out of Lynn Farrell Arena. Broncos went on a 23-0 run in the first half and outscored the Flames in the second quarter 40-9. The Broncos hit 53% of their shots in the game, including 13 three-pointers. Macy Bryant led the way with 15 points. Ann Bowes had 14. Gentry Marks 13. Alyssa Baker 12. Whitney Bauer 11. And Tanis Ariando had 10. Hastings is now 6-1 in the season, 3-1 in the conference. They'll play host to Dakota Wesleyan on Saturday. The Creighton men's basketball team upset top-ranked Kansas 76-63 last night at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Jays never trailed in the game and led by as many as 17 points. Ryan Kochbrenner scored 17 points for Creighton. And after winning a second straight Big Ten championship, 5 members of the Nebraska volleyball team were named the All-Big Ten first team yesterday. Senior Lexi Rodriguez was named the Big Ten Libero of the Year, and sophomore Bergen Riley was named the Setter of the Year. In addition to the individual awards, Merritt Beeson, Andy Jackson, and Harper Murray joined Rodriguez and Riley on the 25-player All-Big Ten first team. High school basketball season gets underway tonight. Hastings High boys and girls will play host to Seward beginning at 5:30. We'll have the action here on Extreme Sports beginning at 5:15 today. Other action, Adams Central will play host to Aurora, and St. Cecilia will play at Columbus SCOTUS. That's checking your sports headlines at 7:58.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
A pretty quiet forecast as we head through the rest of the work and school week and into the weekend. Hey, everybody. Tim Jones, Nebraska Community TV. Cooler today on this Thursday. Plenty of sunshine, a high around 30 degrees. North wind 5 to 10, becoming light and variable throughout the day. Overnight tonight, a low of 18. A few passing clouds. As we head into the weekend, Friday, sunny, a high of 48. Saturday, a high of 58 and 55 on Sunday. Plenty of sunshine and quiet into next week.
North winds this morning, 8 miles per hour. Clear skies, 16 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
All right, again, we've got high school basketball tonight. Hastings High and Seward. Boys-girls basketball doubleheader from the Tiger Gym. Coverage begins at 5:15 tonight. I guess on the TV guide, we got it's Thursday, so that means NFL football tonight. What do we got? The Packers and the Lions. Pretty good game.
Yeah.
Pretty good. For a Thursday night, pretty good game, Packers and Lions.
For all those that get Prime, have fun with that. 7:15, 5:30 start time. Purdue and Penn State, big tattle in the Big Ten. 8th ranked Purdue actually dogs against unranked Penn State. Penn State's a 1.5-point favorite there. That's a 5:30 tip-off. Your soccer gets underway at 2:15 this afternoon on USA with Bournemouth and Tottenham Spur. And then your nightcap, Blues hockey returning as they take on the Calgary Flames at 8 p.m. In Calgary. So that's your guide on the TV side of things. Blazing 5, Frozen 5, whatever you want to call it, coming your way tomorrow at 7:30. And we've got a few alerts coming in on the Blazing 5 standpoint. We might need to extend that intro out a little bit and extend that music bed. Got a couple other that want to take part and want to have a seat at the table. Dakota has reminded us yesterday that he went 4-1 in his lone week as a guest picker and thinks that 4-1 record is enough to come back and share his picks. So I said, feel free. The more the merrier. Bring in your picks and get a chance. So we'll have Dakota. Timmy has been in contact from the bullpen. He is feel like that his bullpen session went well, and we can give him the rock and go throw some picks. So we are one man short of a starting 5-man rotation for our Blazing 5, but a couple more seats at the table. And also, before I let you go, and to all of our audience out there, cheers, because today is National Repeal Day. The day that we ended prohibition in America and were able to celebrate responsibly once again. So crack one open later in the day for everybody as prohibition has came to an end on this date in our history.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
Drink to that.
By the way, just a quick update. The damn Star is up and functional.
Stupid Star.
That stupid Star. I got it out of the back room. Lights came on.
Okay.
I went and mounted it on, like I was told. I was told by you know who. I mounted it, and she's on, and it's glowing beautifully, and that's my Christmas decoration.
Stupid Star is up for those that were anxiously waiting.
All right, we'll do it again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us on Extreme Sports. Have yourself a great day.